Men, take a knee. Baba Kusha. Barakatha Yahweh, Hawa, Hawa, Natana Nawa, Award, Hashabath, Bashalom. Blessed are you, Yahweh, that give to us the Sabbath light of peace. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kwada, Haya, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwutka, Taba'a, Ratazaka, Haya, Asha, Barataza, Kawo, Haya, Bashamayim, Ladandanawa, Bacham, Ko, Yawam, Wasalach Nawa, Kawabwath Nawa, Kasalach Nawa, Kawabwath Yanawa, Wala'a, Tabaya Nawa, Banasayawan, Abo, Awashai Nawa, Man, Ra, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwath, Waha Allah, Wata Pawad, Aman. Our Father who art in heaven, set apart be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And let us not come into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom, and the power, and the esteem forever. Amen. Shema, Yasharala, Yahweh, Allah Yahweh, Yahweh is one. Hallelujah. You may stand in the presence of the Most High. Put your hands together. Call along Yahweh. All right. Once again, it is an honor and privilege to be before you, to have another opportunity, once again, to acknowledge the infinite, inexplicable, the great and terrible power of Yahweh. And we do so in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to be going through some of the Torah portion as it relates to the topic today. But we want to deal with some of the parallels of slavery, if you will. This is something that we bring out all the time. We just want to go back and kind of look again at it and see some of the foundational things that establish us as Israelites, and just make sure that we're not leaving anything out. How many of you know that when we go and we rehearse the righteous acts, that's along with rehearsing the scriptures, that there's still things that you can see that you haven't seen if you go back over them. I know a lot of people, speak about the camps, but the camps are out there, and we're actually reiterating, and we're bringing to remembrance these things that the Most High has given to his people. And when repetition helps to solidify, repetition helps to seal, repetition also builds confidence and it makes you skillful. So all praises. Let's start once again and let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 68. This is something that we read all the time. So we're just going to bring out some of the parallels of slavery. All right. And let me get a reader.
Come. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
And no man shall buy you. So we see that the parallel between what happened in Egypt, and this is Moses prophesying what would happen to us in the latter times. And this is an identifying characteristic. It's well known throughout the Israelite community. Give me the book of Exodus 1:14, because what's synonymous with the bondage and that you're being sold to your enemies is the evidence that you're going to go through some type of labor. That you're going to go through a physical labor, and that this would be the defining or definitive characteristics that would qualify you as an Israelite. Because a lot of people say, you don't know that you know Israelite. How you know? You can't prove that. With their science, with DNA. Well, we can prove it with history, archaeology, and anthropology. And there are many people that are teaching now that still don't have this foundation of their identity according to these scriptures, and that's where they get tripped up. A lot of people are dealing with the matrial or the matriarchal lineage.
Right.
We see that. We even see that in what we call the Indian community, or we know it to be Gadites, that a lot of these people that are claiming to be indigenous to this land are coming through the matriarch and not the patriarch, not through that lineage, All right. So let's read Exodus 1 and 14.
Come. The book of Exodus chapter 1, Exodus chapter 1, verse 14. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage.
This is one of the parallels between this Egypt, where the Most High said he was going to bring us into Egypt again. And they made their lives bitter with what?
With hard bondage.
With hard bondage. To qualify yourself as an Israelite, you have to identify with the hard bondage. All right? I'm going to see if I can get this. I don't know why my phone is picking up. I think I'm on the setting. Let me get up. Bear with me just a little bit so I can get up.
You got that button on the side?
Yeah, that's all right. Let me see. I'm going to get it. I got it. All right. So read it again. Exodus 1 and 14.
Come. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field.
And of all manner of service in the field. When Moses said that we were going to be brought back into Egypt, back into that bondage, it was going to be synonymous with the hard labor that we did in Egypt. There's nobody else that identifies with that struggle except for the Israelites. All right? This is a defining characteristic. One of the backbreaking tasks of the Israelites in bondage was making bricks out of what? Mortar. And when you look at some of the ancient hieroglyphics, you see the Israelites bending over. That's back-breaking work, bending over that labor. That's synonymous. Everybody, well, they talk about the indentured servants. They talk about a certain type of slavery. It's not this hard bondage. All right, and we have to bring that out. We can't overemphasize that, because you see in a lot of people, what's some of the first things they say to us? They say, you know what? Everybody was slaves.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody was oppressed. Have y'all heard that before? Absolutely. We get that all the time. But when you bring this out and you put the emphasis on the hard bondage, that's different. It says in mortar and in brick and in all manner of service in the field. It goes back to the same curses. You'd be cursed where?
In the field.
In the field. In the city, and you're going to be cursed in the field. Everybody is not, or has not, as a nation, experienced those same curses. All right? Give me Jeremiah 2:14.
Praise it.
Remember, these were bricks. That's hard bondage. That's where you get your masons from. The Israelites were laying bricks. That's hard work. If any of you ever know anything about mortar and bricks and masonry work, that's hard labor, man. Hard bondage in mortar and in brick. Who were the brick masons when we were brought over here to build places like the White House? So we were. Who were the people that built the buildings, Wall Street? Who were the people that did that? Matter of fact, not only that, but places like Harvard University, that our people trying to get into. A lot of these so-called Division I, highly esteemed and prestigious schools, that they don't even allow us to come in. We built them.
Right.
They were built on the backs of slaves.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. All this is what we did. It's the same bondage. It's the same labor that we did in ancient Egypt.
So like I remember we went to that slave plantation, you can still see the fingerprints on the slaves.
Look, you see that? You can still see the fingerprints on the bricks from the slaves. That goes back to that Exodus 1:14. And in brick and in all manner of service, that bondage links up with the bondage in the Egypt that we were going to be brought to on ships.
Right.
You can say whatever you want. People say, well, no, those ships, that wasn't talking about that. That's a metaphor to something. Man, get out of here.
Right. Yeah, it's a precept. This is Deuteronomy 28:46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
Forever. And we know until that bondage would still be us in hard bondage. All right? Even now today, when you go to work, who has to work the hardest?
You know, still today, we do brick masons, because we do the bricklaying, even the concrete slabs, the ground, all that. We still do that today.
Still do that today. Look at that. And that's what, when you look on the side of the road, usually who's building the roads? Who's the taskmaster overseeing us?
Esau.
It's nothing new under the sun. Who the one standing with his hands in his pocket and he got the white hat on? Right? He got the white hard hat. Well, all of us with the yellow hard hat on. All right? We're going to look at a little bit of that today. So bring in Jeremiah 2:14.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 14. Is Israel a servant?
Mm-hmm.
Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled?
That's the question. Why is he spoiled and even spoiled to this day? Who got that phone on? They're going to have to cut that out. That's annoying. You already know how I am. That's annoying. Why is he spoiled? Is Israel a servant? And the answer is yes. These are identifying characteristics. Is he a home-born slave? Meaning, where he was he born into slavery? How many can identify with that? I was born, if my ancestors were born slaves. How are you going to tell us we're not the Hebrew Israelites? You know, you got to know your book, because they're definitely going to challenge us. All right? You have captions and we have pictures. We bring it out. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. We have pictures of slaves working in the fields of the southern United States. We got it. So back-breaking tasks, children in the cotton fields. You see what I'm saying? Can you imagine being in the cotton field all day, even into the night, bent over every day, all day, back-breaking? All right? That's hard bondage. Our people would work from sunup to sundown. They still doing that now. You know, if you're in that industry, that's how you work. If you're laying brick or doing any type of mortar or street, we see sometimes they out there in the middle of the night, in the wee early morning hours. We see that. Go ahead.
I used to hear stories of my pops. He's kind of older than me. Like he's older friends and stuff. You see, back in the day, it's probably around 30s or 40s or something maybe. They used to come like they probably in the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade maybe. And Mr. Chandler come knock on the door saying, "Hey, we need your son in the field today. He ain't going to school today." And they had to send him in the field. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So
That's powerful.
that's why a lot of them didn't never graduate from past the 8th grade.
Right, because they were already in the field. But remember, we also were in the tobacco fields. Remember the tobacco? It wasn't just cotton. It was tobacco fields. Soybean. What a lot of soybeans. Potatoes. All that, man. Always in the field. All right. Hard bondage. Now, go ahead. Bring out.
I just want to bring this out. Going back to Adam. This is Genesis 3:19. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread.
Bring it out again.
Yeah, Genesis 3:19. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground. For out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return.
Look at that.
So you're gonna work until you got
To
the
the
sweat.
sweat till you sweat. Back-breaking, hard bondage. That's only identified with the Israelites. And that's one thing America doesn't want to talk about. When they talk about apologizing or showing any empathy, they want to talk about things that they did to other nations. They want to talk about treatment of, other immigrants. But when it comes to slavery, they want to wipe that history away. They want to teach it as though we came over here on the Love Boat. Right. You see what I'm saying? And they always identify with indentured servants and indentured servitude. All right? When we go back to Deuteronomy 28:68, notice what the scripture said. It said that you would be sold to your enemies. Let's read that again, one more time.
Deuteronomy 28:68. And the Most High shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Did we just have one group of enemies as Israel? It didn't say we were sold to the Egyptians.
Right.
So how can this be a prophecy still dealing with us being bondage in Egypt? He said you're going to be sold to your enemies. He didn't say you're going to be sold to the Egyptians. That's another identifying characteristic. Because we know when we go to Deuteronomy 28:48, let's go there again, that's dealing with enemies, not Egyptians. The Most High always was distinctive as to who had us in captivity. That's right. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy 28:48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Most High shall send against thee.
Shall do what?
Shall send against thee.
He's going to send these people. How did we get over to the shores of America? They came after us as we were sold by the so-called Arabs to the Portuguese. You see what I'm saying? So they got ships and they were sent to get us, even taking us from the west coast of Africa and bringing us over here. They traveled to those places to get us.